In less time than it takes to boil water, an entire Chinese missile battery was turned into rubble. 88 seconds of precision, deception, and electronic warfare erased a system meant to neutralize American stealth forever. But it didn't start there. Just hours before, an F-35C pilot almost didn't make it home. Tonight, we walk through the anatomy of America's fastest strike in modern history. Every jamming signal, every decoy, every bunker buster, layer by layer. By the end, you'll see how stealth and misdirection can silence even the loudest threats. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. A stealth fighter designed to be invisible suddenly lit up on a Chinese radar scope. Why? The F-35C call sign Viper 1 had been sent to shadow electromagnetic activity near Scarborough Shoal. The sortie seemed routine. The jet's onboard suite was optimized for low observability, with sensors recording in silence and its profile carefully masked against conventional radar. The Navy expected the pilot to slip in, collect emissions, and withdraw before Chinese operators even suspected an intrusion. For years, the assumption had been firm. Stealth aircraft could roam near contested waters without fear of detection from ground-based systems. That night, the expectation collapsed. Operators at a Chinese coastal installation watched their phased array panels return data they had only trained for in simulations. The HQ-19 radar had not just noticed an anomaly, it established a weapons-grade lock. The system's strength came from its fusion of advanced processing with wide-frequency surveillance. Instead of searching for a solid radar return, the HQ-19 exploited scattered signals, bouncing off small angles and edges of the aircraft's frame. Anti-stealth algorithms then integrated these fragments across multiple wavelengths, gradually constructing enough of a consistent picture to generate firing coordinates. That process transformed a fighter designed to remain unseen into a traceable target, one that could be struck with precision. The instant the track stabilized, launch protocols engaged. Two HQ-19 interceptors tore away from their platforms. Each missile accelerated past Mach 5 within moments, leaving ionized trails in the atmosphere and eating up distance in seconds. Staring at closing speeds above 4,000 miles per hour, the F-35C's pilot had almost no time to calculate options. He switched from the standard surveillance mode to combat survival, releasing chaff bursts against radar seekers and flare packages against infrared sensors. The electronic warfare pod modulated frequencies in rapid cycles, trying to throw off missile guidance. None of it guaranteed survival. The jet's greatest advantage had always been stealth, not raw agility. Against these hypersonic interceptors, maneuvering offered slim margins. Yet on that night, instinct and training turned out to be the only assets left. One incoming missile overloaded its seeker head while adjusting to the F-35's jamming signals, detonating prematurely at distance and erupting into shards that rattled harmlessly past the aircraft. The second missile stayed intact, powering closer until its proximity fuse began searching for impact metrics. The pilot rolled sharply downward into a barrel roll, pulling G-forces that strained both airframe and bodysuit. The missile streaked past by what later analysts assessed as less than 30 feet, close enough for shockwaves to jolt the fighter out of stable trim. Regaining control, the pilot steadied his trajectory and disengaged southeast, still streaming off countermeasures in case additional launches followed. What had unfolded was more than a close call. For decades, stealth aircraft represented assurance that U.S. forces could enter defended airspace and survive. Here, an integrated system had not only detected stealth, but nearly killed it in combat. The HQ-19 radar was not just searching the skies. It had reached the point of turning invisible assets visible long enough to fire. Back at command posts, analysts pored over data, recognizing the danger. The engagement made one fact unavoidable. Stealth was not an impenetrable shield. Any assumption of untouchability now risked catastrophe. In response, American planners accepted that waiting for negotiations would leave their pilots exposed to another hypersonic ambush. What kind of strike can cripple a $400 million air defense hub in under 90 seconds without losing a single pilot? The answer came in the form of Operation Silent Hammer, a plan built in urgency after a lone F-35C had nearly been erased hours earlier. Commanders needed something fast, precise, and undeniable. The challenge began with geography. Scarborough Shoal was under the shadow of multiple Chinese ground-based missile units. HQ-9 and HQ-22 launchers sat within range, supported by surface fleets on alert. That meant any strike force flying toward the site risked instant targeting unless the enemy's surveillance picture was torn apart first. American planners knew that bringing in fighters alone would be suicide. So the first wave wasn't made of bombers or strike aircraft at all. It came in the electronic form of EA-18G Growlers. These supersonic jamming platforms flew in a wide arc, activating pods that flooded the electromagnetic spectrum with half a kilowatt of jamming power. Within moments, Chinese operators faced loud bursts across multiple bands, their radar screens glowing with static and false returns. As the jammers created walls of noise, the second deception unfolded. Super Hornets launched dozens of miniature air-launched decoy jammers, known as MALD-J. Each of these autonomous drones mimicked the radar cross-section of manned aircraft, spitting out signals that convinced defensive operators they were watching waves of strike fighters pour into the region. On radar monitors inside coastal bunkers, targets bloomed in every direction. Commanders rushed to vector defenses, and missile crews were ordered to engage. HQ-9 and HQ-22 systems began launching interceptors, burning valuable ammunition against swarms of nothing but programmed decoys. Every missile released only deepened the false picture, phantoms multiplying in the night sky. While Chinese defenses wasted fire, the real danger approached quieter than storm clouds. From altitude, B-2 Spirits drifted across the battle space. Their wing shapes and composite skins bent radar waves away, keeping them hidden in the very static generated by the Growlers. No bright returns gave them away, no hot signals betrayed their presence. They hunted in silence, carrying loads carefully matched to the job ahead. Beneath their bays sat bunker-busting munitions programmed for hardened command shelters, along with JDAM variants primed to break launch vehicles into wreckage. At the same time, AGM-88G anti-radiation missiles lined up on launch rails. These weapons were designed to sense radar emissions and drive straight down the beam toward their source. As soon as the HQ-19 radar pushed power to regain its lock, the missiles detected it instantly, racing toward the transmitters with pinpoint accuracy. The operators inside barely had time to throttle power down before impacts ripped through the arrays, melting dishes and scattering fragments into sand. From the first release to the last detonation, the actual strike window lasted 88 seconds. Precision-guided JDAMs cratered the launch pads, sending twisted husks of HQ-19 interceptors into flames. Hardened doors caved under pressure bombs, collapsing communications nodes beneath meters of earth. Anti-radar missiles hammered the arrays into slag. When the smoke began to settle, the integrated network was gone. The success came not from brute force, but from the sequence. Jammers blinded sensors. Decoys tricked defenses into wasting fire. Stealth platforms used the window of confusion to slip in unseen, and precision ordnance ended the fight before defenders could adjust. In that short span, American planners had reversed the balance, erasing one of China's most advanced anti-stealth threats before it truly entered the game. The destruction was fast, clean, and total. But as debris still burned over Scarborough Shoal, new uncertainties emerged. If a billion-dollar defensive hub could be silenced in under 2 minutes, what did that mean for the larger balance of deterrence across the South China Sea? An F-35C nearly being torn from the sky showed two truths at once. Stealth is not untouchable, and when that veil is pierced, survival depends on speed, coordination, and deception. Operation Silent Hammer proved how quickly integrated counterstrikes can blind an air defense system that cost hundreds of millions to build and years to field. In today's battle space, 88 seconds can erase a fortress, but those same 88 seconds can also ignite a conflict that reshapes global balance. So tell me, do you think rapid deception strikes safeguard peace, or do they drag us closer to escalation? Let me know below.